mouth works to break down food into smaller pieces. This increases surface area, which allows enzymes to break down macromolecules into monomers so that the body can digest it. The esophagus will use peristalsis to propel the food bolus down into the stomach. The stomach will mix the food bolus back and forth with contractions in order to break it down further. Acid is released from parietal cells and pepsinogen from chief cells to aid this process. The pancreas, which is located in the fold of the duodenum, has both exocrine and endocrine secretions. Digestive enzymes are released into the duodenum of the small intestine to further aid in carbohydrate and protein digestion. Bicarbonate is released to buffer the strong acid that is released from the stomach. The liver creates bile, which aids in the breakdown of lipids. It performs emulsification, where it breaks down a fat globule into fat droplets. This will enter the duodenum via the bile duct. The small intestine's primary concern is absorption. It is lined with a great number of microvilli that will help increase surface area. The cecum, which is located at the end of the small intestine and at the beginning of the large intestine, has many pockets and folds that allow it to slow down digestion and increase surface area. A great number of microbes live here, which aid in fermentation. The large intestine also has many folds and pockets that help slow down digestion. This is because cellulose in plant matter is very difficult to break down and ferment. The kidneys act to filter through your blood plasma to retain necessary nutrients and excrete unnecessary waste. The ureter leads the waste into your bladder, where it can be stored until it is ready to be emptied. The bladder is a muscle, so it has control over when and where the liquid waste is excreted. The trachea is the pathway from your mouth to your lungs. It has cartilaginous rings that are shaped like a seed that allow it to collapse. That way, when the esophagus expands when a food bolus travels down it, it can move out of the way to allow it to travel down. The lungs allow oxygen to travel to your capillary beds so that they can be transferred into the bloodstream, and from there to your cells for energy. It also allows waste, such as carbon dioxide, to be exhaled out of your body. The rectum allows fecal matter to exit from the body. The phrenic nerve originates from the C3 and the C5 spinal nerves. It travels down the chest in between the heart towards the diaphragm. It functions to assist with motor function in the diaphragm. If it were to be compromised at all, you would have difficulty controlling your breathing. The heart is the main hub for your circulatory system. It acts to control your heart rate and your blood pressure. It also is a midway point between where deoxygenated blood becomes oxygenated. The spleen is what contains your lymphatic system. It acts as a blood filter and provides cells for your immune system. Its other functions include removing cellular waste, activating white blood cells, and maintaining your fluid balance. To reiterate, here is an overview of our horse anatomy. We began with the mouth and traveled down the esophagus. Right next to that would be our trachea and our lungs, as well as our heart and our phrenic nerve, which innervates the diaphragm, which is located beneath the lungs. As you travel further down, you would get to the stomach, which is where the esophagus goes into. Next to that, we have our spleen and our liver. As we go further down, we enter into the small intestine, which is where our pancreas is located, right in this fold. The first part of the small intestine includes the duodenum, and then the jejunum, and then the ileum. The ileum leads into the very end of our small intestine, where we're met with the cecum, which is where plant matter can go into for further digestion and breakdown via microbes. From the cecum and ileum, we go into the large intestine. This includes the ascending colon, the transverse colon, and the descending colon. The descending colon empties out into the rectum, which is where our fecal matter will leave the body.